Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Space Gate Odyssey. Space Gate Odyssey seems to have a few little intricacies, but other than that it plays relatively straightforward. The whole idea, or where your points are going to come from, is these planets. In order to get guys onto those planets, you need to go through your space station. It's set up with each of these tiles face down. They will get flipped up to the usable side when you send someone through there. It will cost you the person that you send through there. So if you move one guy onto here, you'll get what is in the middle of that, but that guy is then lost. The tile that I just sent him to is then turned over, and I can continue. So how does the game work? On your turn, you will select one of your guys that's in here. Each of the guys in there is worth 1 point. The guys in these exosuits or bigger suits are worth 2 points. They're kind of captains or chief engineers. The other ones are just regular engineers. So you will select one, move him to the higher space of the table to show that it's your turn, and then do the action. Each guy will give you 1 point. If you have a chief engineer there, that will give you another 2 points. So here, he would have 3 points to do that room's stuff. What will then happen is each other player in turn order will also do that action. So if they have a chief engineer here, yellow will have 2 points worth of stuff that he can do in that room. So what does each of the rooms do? These three are relatively straightforward. They help you with movement. So if, for example, blue were to move to the blue room, he would be able to move 2 guys or 2 steps through the blue spaces. So the first one he would send to here. I'll talk about what they do in a second, but that one would be deleted as previously discussed. Then that one moves in there. That's a second movement. And that's all he could do. If he had moved that guy, he would have 1 more turn and he'd probably put this guy into there, which would open up the space, and basically these are now usable rooms. And that's the case with blue, pink or green. Basically, it allows you to move through that coloured room. This starting space counts as any of the colours. So if I'm there and say I go to the pink, I'm allowed to move 2 through pink. I don't have any pink rooms, except I could, if I wish to, move guys back into the white room because that counts as pink for this purpose. Once you have had your turn and the other players have also followed that turn, if they're in the same room, you would then come down off the little table spot and the other player would do the same. So that's these three. They all work exactly the same, just different coloured rooms. We then have these other 2 rooms available to us. If you move to here, this is called the airlock room. What that does is for each point that is in that room, you can fill up one of your airlock rooms. So this is an airlock room, this is an airlock room. Because I've put 2 points there, I get to fill up this airlock, which is a 5-person airlock, but there are only 2 spots available, so I can only bring 2 more guys in. The others just stay there. And with the second point, he has an airlock here that has now been made available, so he could fill that up. Once again, if the other player had a guy in there, he could fill up one of his airlocks also. Or if he had that, he could fill up 3 airlocks. If he had the 3 airlocks. If he has none, then nothing happens, we move on. The other spot is the white room. What the white room does is it will add one of these rooms to your space station. So I put 2 points in there, I can add 2 rooms to my space station. Now I have options here. Either I can take one of the tiles from the top and put it onto the bottom of the pile because I say don't want to have that particular tile. That is 1 turn. Because I've got a chief engineer over there, it gives me a second one. I can then take the top one and place it into my space station. Or if I have done nothing, so I haven't deleted that one, that's just what it looks like, I could use 1 point to put something into the space station, and a second point to put something else into my space station. Now the second point, I'm not allowed to use the same pile that I've just taken a room from. So what do these rooms do? The bottom level is intake. So these are the rooms that you'll put in to get more guys into your space station. The middle level are bonuses. So when they get unlocked, there's a little picture. There are 3 different pictures that could be available to us. The 3 of them look like that. So this one, when it's unlocked, puts another guy into the Odyssey board. This one adds a suit to one of your engineers that's already on the Odyssey board. And this one adds a robot to the coloured room of the Odyssey board. The robots are not able to move. They will stay in that same location for the rest of the game, but they give you a point in that location. And the colour on the bottom tells you which of the 5 locations that robot will go to. So that happens when you flip one of those tiles over. Notice there are 3 spaces on this. That's basically a hallway that can hold 3 guys. So theoretically, I could, using a blue room, move 3 guys to there. And then if I bring more guys in, I'll be able to fill up these 3 spots. The third type of room is the top level. The top level are how we actually make our points. So let's flip that over and just say that that has been released as previously discussed. This one is going to send people to the planet with the matching symbol. So once that's full, it doesn't matter whose turn it is, by the way. It could be the other player's turn. It could be your turn. As soon as that's full, the extra step on the end of the turn is to send any of the guys down to the planet. And then moves to the next person's turn. Each planet scores slightly differently, so I'm not going to go into what each planet does, short of saying if I were to place a guy on this spot, there's a little picture that looks like that. What I'm now able to do is swap 2 of these around. They have to be next to each other, but any 2 can swap. So I might say swap those 2. What this is talking about is points at the end of the game. So at the moment, any blue room in your space station at the end of the game is worth no points. Green room's worth 1 point. Pink room's worth 2 points. If you have 1 of each, you'll get 7 points. If you have 2 of each, you'll get 2 lots of 7 points, etc., etc. And that's a really big part of scoring at the end of the game, is getting the right things to have higher value than the things you don't necessarily want. Each of these planets will score once they're full, and they have little keys on the bottom to tell you what each planet or each spot on each planet is worth. Any of these are just regular spots. Any that look like that have other rules that go along with them. I'm not going to go into what each of the planets do, other than to say look at the back of the rulebook for each of them, just because every single one of them is different. Once you've fulfilled the criteria on one of the planets, so for example, just imagine that one has filled up, we get 2 points for each of your colour that's on there, and 2 points for every other colour, they get their 2 points also. Then that gets moved to whoever released it, will get moved to one of the other planets. Once those planets are no longer available, that then gets moved over here, and anything from now on that's sent through is worth 1 extra point. This little tracker here, every time you come around, so you go from 9 to 10, you would put a marker on it. You do that again, so we put a second marker on it. On the 3rd time round, when you're moving from 9 to 10, or from 29 to 30, you're going to put one of these guys on there. That guy has to come from this central board to go there. And so that reduces the amount of actions you're able to do. I believe that is all the rules for Space Gate Odyssey. So please go ahead and watch my gameplay to get a feel for how the game actually plays in practice. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.